Hello, friends, Gary Goes, and fellow poets. Welcome back to Conversing with Poets, the first live stream of the year. Uh, if you're just popping in, I see some people just jumping in now. Make sure you say hello in the chat. Hello, Tanya. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Tanya. Happy New Year, Delgo. Hello, hello, hello. Um, yeah, I apologize for the lazy outfit today. I've been napping all day. I don't know if you saw my community tab, but as you guys know, at the end of last year, I said one of my goals for this year is to start ingratiating myself into the poetry community in the real world, um, not just online. And last night was the first night of that, and I didn't get home till 12. So I've been napping all day. One of the things we talk about quite often in these live streams is me feeling my age and me not being so happy about being 31, 30, soon to be 32. But I was just saying actually to Tanya, funnily enough, I was just saying once upon a time, me saying, "Oh, I'm tired because I had a late night last night," used to mean until walking around town in bars and clubs until 3 o'clock in the morning on the booze. Now it just means being home by midnight from a chilled poetry evening. But it was such a good night. It was such a good night. I'm gonna give them a shout out for any of my subscribers from London. Definitely check out the Poetry Lounge in Highgate at the the Boogaloo pub. And what was really funny was when I got there, most people were already seated, and it's sort of just find a space and sit down. And I sat down, and funnily enough, I happened to sit down next to a subscriber. He said, "Oh, I watch you on YouTube." So, Fayad, shout out to you. Good job with your reading last night. Loved your poems. If you're watching, hopefully I'll see you at the Boogaloo again sometime. But tonight we are going to be talking about different mediums for our poetry. Again, we're a little bit quiet tonight, so I'm gonna hang around. You guys know what to do. Hit that like button, get us to 5 likes, so I know that you guys are ready to rock and roll. But we're going to talk about different mediums for our poetry, and also talk about poetry events in part two, inspired by last night. So let me just catch up with the chat. Hope it went well for you last night, Adam. Thank you very much. I didn't read. I had no intention of reading just yet. I'm just slowly dipping my toes back into the water. I haven't been to a poetry event and read since before COVID, so I need to pluck up the courage. Believe it or not, I'm quite socially anxious, so I have to work up to these things. But it was great just to be in that environment again. I really loved it. Again, anyone from London, the Poetry Lounge, check it out. Highgate in London. It's really, really good. Great venue, great hosts, and a really great and supportive audience as well. And I was saying to Jess, if you're watching, I was saying to someone else who I met last night, what was great about this particular event was that there were actually plenty of people there, like myself, who were just there to watch the poetry. Many open mics I've been to, a lot of the poets are literally in their own world. They're just there to read their poems and sort of get the glory from that, and not really there to support the other readers. But this last night, as I say, there was a good handful of people just there to appreciate poetry, and that made all the difference. That made all the difference. It was a great vibe. So check it out if you're in London. Hi Delgal, had a wonderful night with good friends. Happy New Year to you as well. Herb, hello, Herb. Happy New Year. Herb has become a channel icon, I've decided. Herb is now a channel icon, just like Tayu and the crispy chicken. Herb and the Christmas Eve shenanigans, let's say, because I don't want to get demonetized again. Herb is a channel icon. Happy New Year, Herb. Good to see you. Hope you're well. what did everyone get up to for their New Year's Eve? I'll give it a couple more minutes. Don't forget to hit that like button, get us to 5 likes, and then I know that we can move on. What did everyone get up to for their New Year's? I apologize, I can't stay on long. I had an unfortunate accident and need to see the doctor today. Absolutely no problem, Tanya. I understand. I hope everything gets resolved. Are there any superheroes in the chat right now that have already written their first poem of 2024? Love the Rolling Stones cap. Thank you very much. Yeah, they're my favorite band. They're my favorite band. Quiet evening at home for New Year's Eve. Love the hat. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you. Yeah, I love the Rolling Stones. So I woke up from one of 3 naps and my hair was a bit crazy, so I had to put a hat on just to flatten it a little bit. Herb had a quiet evening for New Year's Eve. Pretty much the same. I did a little journal entry, and then Harry, my dog, doesn't really like fireworks, so I spent the evening trying to keep him calm and relax his anxiety. He doesn't like cower and run away, although towards the end, I say that towards the end, he did sort of jump and sit behind me and sort of cower behind me. But for the most part, he just pants and has anxiety. So bless him. So I spent most of the evening just trying to keep him calm. Also, guys, check out the subscribe account. We're almost at 600. So if you're watching right now and you haven't subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, because we are trying to hit 10,000 by the end of the year. We have less than 365 days now. I'm not going to do the maths. What, 361? I've probably made myself look silly now, but maths isn't my strong suit. That's why I'm in the business of words. This coffee is very much needed. As I say, I had a very big lunch and then went to sleep. So, it's nice to get a bit of caffeine in my system. So, Herb, and for anyone watching that didn't catch it the first time around, tonight we're going to be talking about different mediums for our poetry that we can explore, and then in the second part we're going to look at poetry events. Did you know that it's National Trivia Day? I thought I'd drop that little tidbit there. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Well, happy National Trivia Day. Can you share any fun bits of trivia while we wait to get started? Just give it a few, maybe I'll give it a few more minutes. Oh, let me plug my laptop charger in actually. Otherwise it might die on us. Might be wise to put my coffee down before I spill it everywhere. Just went for a few drinks. Just to let you guys know, there's a lot of rain going on above me, so hopefully, touch wood, it doesn't happen, but the connection may be a little bit jumpy. I have a I have a couple. I have a couple of poems written. Okay, cool. Well, then you are not just a hero, you're a superhero. Also, don't forget, guys, we have our first write along on Sunday. Our first write along is back. It's come around pretty quickly, so hopefully I see you guys there. We'll write a poem together. That will be, I think that's when did I schedule that? I think that's scheduled for 2 o'clock my time, and then we'll have a conversing with poets at 7 o'clock my time as normal. So there'll be 2 streams on Sunday. Excuse me. We'll have 2 streams on Sunday, you lucky lot. Okay, guys, we are a little bit quiet tonight, so I'm gonna really need. I know Tanya, you need to take off, but I'm gonna really need you guys to work that chat box. Otherwise, it might be a very. It'll either be a very long stream because there's no discussion going on, or it might have to be a very short stream where I finish early if if we're a little bit quiet, but hopefully not. So let's talk about different poetry mediums that we can explore. We stayed in and played cards with adult beverages. My bestie surprised me with a surprise visit. Nice. It was the best ever. Wicked. We haven't seen each other for 10 months. Wicked. Well, I'm glad she surprised you, and I'm glad you had a good time. That's wicked. Um, yeah, nice surprise. Nice surprise. So, different poetry mediums that we can explore. There was when I can't remember when I brought the early hour. When did I publish the early hours? That must be like 2 years ago now. It might even have been 2019 or 2020. But with the early hours, I really kind of ventured into a new territory, if you like, which I really enjoyed. It was inspired by Dacre Montgomery, who plays Billy in Stranger Things. I've been trying to get my hands on his book for a review video, but it's been out of stock for the longest time, which I guess is a really good thing, right? It means it keeps selling out. But he has done a really, really incredible poetry album. It's called DKMH, I believe. DKMH on Spotify. If not, just type in Dacre Montgomery. I'll put it in the chat. Dacre Montgomery. And listening to his poetry album really inspired me to do something similar. So again, if you go on Spotify or Apple iTunes, I think, or Apple Music, whatever it is these days, and type in the early hours Adam Gary, hopefully it should come up. So that was a medium that I explored, and I would really like to explore again. Because did you guys know, as of last year, the Grammys, yes, the Grammys, you heard that right, the Grammys now have an award for Best Spoken Word Album. The guy we have to thank for that, I believe, is called Jay Ivy, off the top of my head. Jay Ivy. So that's now a thing. So that is something you can consider if you haven't necessarily already. To do that, it's just as easy, believe it or not, as it is to self-publish. Now, the thing about it is you do have to pay a yearly fee. You do have to pay a yearly fee. It's more of a vanity thing for me because obviously I'm not getting enough listeners to earn a significant amount in royalties. So it's more of a vanity thing, I guess. But it is a cool medium to explore. If you don't put it on Spotify or anything like that, you can always put it on a YouTube channel where you don't have to pay a yearly thing to be on all the servers. TuneCore, again, I'll put that in the chat as well. If you do decide you want to try out Spotify and all these big music streamers, TuneCore is the publisher I use for audio. So do check that out. Let me catch. We stay. Let's win it. Although we have to go up against William Shatner. Oh, is that for the? Oh, sorry, I had to catch up a little bit there. My brain was a little bit slow. I think that's for the Grammy, right? Has William Shatner got a poetry album out, or am I missing that joke? Has William Shatner actually got a poetry? Has he actually got a poetry album out? That would be amazing. Hmm. But yeah, when I brought out the Early Hours album, the Grammy thing wasn't even a thing. So it's not like that's something I was chasing. It was just something I really wanted to explore, and it was fun, and I'd like to do it again. I'd like to do it again. But what are the other mediums that might suit poetry that maybe I haven't thought of? Obviously, you've got social media now, which is a very, very common one. Uh, albums. albums is a new thing that we can do. Poetry films. I've often, I mean, that's not a new thing. That's been around forever, and I've got some what's called stock footage films. Podcasts, absolutely, absolutely. I'll come on to that in a minute. Um, I've got what's called stock footage films. If you go to my channel and go down to poetry films, I think there's a playlist called poetry films. You'll see what I mean. It's basically royalty-free footage and video clips that I kind of edit together to my poem, right? Um, but I've always wanted to do like a music video, like get a team, like a producer together and a cinematographer and some actors and actresses, and actually film like a poetry video. I think that would be really, really cool. Again, that's not a new idea. There are people that have done that. There's a really fantastic um, poet called Havy, Havfy, and she's got some like she's got some really top quality uh, films for her poems. A poetry film would be cool. Yeah, I'd really love to do it. It's so time consuming and expensive though, because you've got to think about locations, actors, lighting crew, cinematographer, director. If you go down that route, some of those roles I could probably fill myself, but to do it on like Javi's level can really rack up the coins. Poetry podcasts, as Herb says. Again, that's relatively simple to do these days. There's so much software out there, so many platforms out there to host your podcasts. One of the things that I've tried to do with the Cove is a radio station. Now that yeah, I had to stop that temporarily. I do want to get back to that because I think there's a big gap for that. But a poetry radio station is something I really, really want to do. But it costs a lot to kind of again, you have to pay a subscription fee to the software, and you know that streams it out to the world. Um, and it's just for me, it's just kind of trying to figure out where best to set my focus. At the moment, I've decided the magazine is where I'm setting my focus because that's kind of the branch of the Cove that has really taken off. And again, as much as you guys might hate to hear it and stuff, it is the branch that's making the money, and that's kind of that's the important thing, right? It is a business, so I have to focus on what's bringing the money in for now. But I do really want to get round to a 24-hour international poetry radio station, and we started. It's doable. It can be done. It's just it costs a lot to do. So for now, I've kind of put a pin in it, but money is important, of course, of course. But I do plan to get back to that. And the reason I went on to radio is because we had a podcast, we had a plan for a radio podcast as part of that too. It's hard to live without it, sure. Unless you're lucky enough to have all the off-grid, all the survival skills and stuff, and all the off-grid home with solar panels and um what's it called? Horticulture? Is it called horticulture? Where you grow like your own food and stuff? Which has always been an interest of mine. I'd love to learn some of that. I see a few people dropping in. Hello, please don't be shy in the chat. We're a little bit quiet tonight, so Hub's doing an excellent job of keeping the conversation going. So please do say hello in the chat. Please do hit that like button. I really appreciate it. How many poetry groups are you a member of in Facebook? I actually don't have Facebook. I deleted my Facebook. I think this came up the other day because we were talking the other live stream when we were talking about photos or something. I didn't just deactivate my Facebook. I completely deleted it. And I haven't looked back, except thank you very much, whoever hit that like button and got us to 5. Thank you. Um, yeah, I don't miss Facebook in the slightest. The only time I sort of regretted it was when I realized I now don't have any photos from my teenage years or anything like that, which I'm a little bit sad about. But for the most part, I don't really miss Facebook. Ouch. Yeah, it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad to think about. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to get in contact with some people. But yeah, I don't know if I have their numbers still. This is the problem. So I've lost a lot of memories. And that's probably what they were counting on. That's probably how they hook people not to leave Facebook because you lose all those memories. So if you ever think about leaving Facebook, just make sure you grab all of your photos before you do, and any phone numbers that you might need to keep in contact with people. Okay, so to recap, we've got for different poetry mediums, we've got poetry albums, poetry films, similar in the same vein as music videos, poetry podcasts, poetry radio. What else have we said? I feel like I'm missing something. Album. Oh, social media, of course. So these are all cool things. Like these are all things to keep in mind. And not everyone. If someone decides they want to branch out with their poetry, right? Not everyone. Not everyone feels the same connection to all mediums. I mean, if you're a poet, I would hope that you feel connection to the written word, but not necessarily. I say that, and I kind of rescind that straight away because just because you like poetry doesn't mean you like it on the page. You might be a performance poet who prefers to perform rather than to write it down. How about graffiti? Interesting. 1 second. Let me finish my coffee. That's an interesting one. See, this is kind of what I wanted to get into, right? Is to really kind of think outside the box. Now, for the most part, graffiti is not legal, so I wouldn't recommend it, of course. Um, but like, yeah, street art, Banksy, like the Banksy of the poetry world. And I know this sounds like I don't mean to, if I am coming across as sarcastic, I don't mean to. I genuinely mean that. You could become the Banksy of the poetry world. Not that Banksy is graffiti. Let me just establish that. I'm not saying Banksy is graffiti. The graffiti I can't stand is the tags, where it's really sort of, I think it just looks nasty when it's just there's no effort into it. It's tagging, right? It's called tagging, and they just go like that, like a signature. If it's a mural or a bit of graffiti that has actually had time spent into it and looks nice rather than just a quick squiggle on the wall, then I quite like it. I think it's cool. But um all I'm saying is do it with taste. No, I'm not saying do it because it's illegal. I'm not advocating for that. But should you find yourself in a position where you want to be the Banksy of the poetry world, then I would say do it with a bit of taste. Make it art rather than just a little tag. Hey BB, welcome back to the live stream. Good to see you. We're a little bit quiet tonight, so Herb has sort of been propping up the stream. So please do give him a helping hand. Good to see you. Welcome to the stream. I love it when people who do art and poetry use both together. Yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure. I actually kind of really like that idea of a street poet. I'm sure that term has been used for other forms of poets in the street. Busker. Busking is, I don't know if that would be a medium, but is an outlet to make money as well. It's always good to make money. You can, I know in London, for example, out side of the Globe Theatre, there's always sort of a poet for hire type thing where he's at his got like a little portable typewriter and he writes you a poem and you pay what you think it's worth and stuff like that. But I actually really like that idea of the Banksy poet. I just saw a train rumble by, the boxcars covered in street art, at least up to about 6 feet high. Yeah, given where credit where credit's due, some of the places these graffiti artists get to and tag is quite impressive, but yeah, just do it tastefully, make it a mural of something. Don't just squiggle on a wall. Perhaps this group, when the write-along start, you could collected them and each person reads one if you can record them. Yeah, that's something we can do and throw it on the radio. Although, as I say, the radio's down at the moment. Um, oh no, we lost a subscriber. We're down to 594. If you're watching this and haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and get us back up to 5595. One of my friends uses the word, hang on, uses the words to her poems as the lines in her drawings. That's really cool. Gosh. That's really cool. I like that idea. Mr. Playwright, hi there, subbed a while back. This is my first stream. Hello, Mr. Playwright. Welcome to your first live stream. Great to have you. Always great to see new faces in here. I don't know if you've just joined us, but we're talking about different mediums for poetry, and Herb has actually thrown, I don't know why people do that, open their exhausts so they sound bigger than they are. Bit obnoxious if you ask me, but never mind. I never understood that, but never mind. Whatever floats your boat. What was I saying, Mr. Playwright? Yeah, we're talking about different mediums for our poetry and really kind of thinking outside the box, because this is how you take poetry to the next level, right? Is doing things outside the box. And I really like that idea of graffiti. Again, just to clarify, I'm not calling Banksy a graffiti artist. He's obviously an artist, but that's really got my brain ticking, actually, thinking about what the equivalent could be for poetry and, leaving little bits and how you would do that in a tasteful manner that would be appreciated. How do we think we could do that in such a way that it would be appreciated rather than scorned? Cool use of words. It is indeed. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. You'll have to get them to share a picture on the Cove so we can all see it. How does narrative poetry strike you as a medium, telling a connected story over the course of a book? I recently finished a published trilogy that follows that style, if that counts, of course. I tell you what, it's funny you say that. I don't know if you heard the intro to this stream, but I was at a poetry event last night. And this is what I'm saying about experimenting and kind of finding new ways to push the art to another level. I was at this event last night and there was a poetry duet, where it was a narrative poem about a shoe seller. It was about a shoe seller, and I think they introduced it as a horror, like a horror poem. But anyway, it was narrative and it was a duet at the same time, and it really really worked. And it was between the shoe seller and the customer, and they had this falling out and stuff like that. It was really really good and really fresh and something I'd never seen before. So yeah, I definitely think you can do narrative poetry. Telling a connected story over the course of a book. I recently finished a published trilogy that follows that style. So are all three books just one, three long sort of epic poems? I believe Ovid did that, so it's definitely an impressive feat if you can do it. I personally couldn't write 3 books as narrative poetry, so that's really impressive. Good job on that one. Perhaps the poet could work with a town council and write poetry on sanctioned buildings at a festival. I really, really like that idea, Herb. That's really cooking something inside of me. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. That's definitely something I would look into, Herb, if you're interested. Because that would be something new and fresh, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about this to see what comes up. That's a very cool idea. Sounds hard to pull off, but all the more power to them. It was so good. It was like watching a small little scene. It was like watching a small scene. Shakespeare did it sometimes, a lot of the time, but it was really impressive to see it, and they performed it really well, and it was good fun. It was good fun. Oh, Herb, great idea. Like in April. So I want to do readers theatre style grouping on some of my pieces for my YouTube channel, just for fun. So I want to do readers theatre style grouping on some of my pieces for my YouTube channel. How would that work, baby? I'm not following entirely. But I so want to do readers theatre style grouping. What's readers theatre style grouping on some of my pieces for my YouTube channel, just for fun. Good job on the trilogy. Yeah, that if that's all in narrative poetry, that is massively impressive. Great job. Is there a place we can purchase your books to read? Yes. Did you say they were published? I think you said they were published, right? How does narrative telling a connected story? I recently finished a published trilogy. Yeah, yeah. Leave a link in the chat, or in a comment after the video. By the way, guys, I'd really appreciate it if you left a comment in the playback as well. I know I ask a lot of you guys, but only because you guys are so awesome. 6 likes. Thank you very much. Um, Only because you guys are so awesome. If you don't mind just leaving a comment in the playback, it just helps the videos get pushed out more. Naturally, these streams are quietening down just a tad. Obviously, when they first came out, the big buzz, and now we're sort of experiencing things plateauing a bit. So I know I ask a lot, but if we keep the momentum going, we're going to hit those 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. How about a refair spoken word contest? I suppose I worded that badly. It's a group doing sort of what you expressed happened last night, layered voicing, etc. Yeah, yeah, definitely go for it. Definitely go for it. Um, I'm not sure how you do it on YouTube. I'm just trying to think to help you. Oh, I'm having this problem. People can't seem to leave links. I know that BB had this problem when we kept asking her for her blog post, and bless her, she must have posted it about 3 or 4 times, and we never got it. I'll come back to that, Herb, in a second. That's a cool idea. Definitely think poetry would go down well at that. I don't know how you would do that. You might have to if you're saying you want like a live event where people read their own poetry, I think you'd have to do it through Zoom and then connect it to like a streaming service. Like I use OBS, connect it to OBS and then stream it into YouTube, I think. But I'll try and find that out for you. Yes, I don't know why we're having this issue with links. For some reason, they don't work on the chat. But if you put the word dot, as in DOT, instead of the actual dot, that might work. I'm saving my comments about your epic beanie for after. Thank you. Thank you. That's the second compliment I've had about the beanie. Yeah, as I said at the start, I went to this event and I didn't get home until midnight. So I've been napping all day. I've been feeling my age. I've been napping all day. And when I woke up, my hair was like out here. So I popped the beanie on just to flatten it a little bit. Renaissance fair. I can see poetry doing really, really well at Renaissance fairs. That's definitely if you guys are into that and you have a Renaissance fair near you, Man, I can see that going down really, really well, especially if you go all out in costume and stuff like that. That would be awesome. I only have the first two books published, but I'll be posting the rest I have done by summertime. Yeah, try to edit the link so that it has the word dot instead of the actual dot, just so we get it. Because I don't know, I've looked at my settings, I've got no filters on it to stop links coming through. Maybe I probably should, but I don't. So maybe it's a YouTube thing where you can't post links in the chat. Or if you know the work around that, let me know and I'll do that. I only have 6 subscribers, so loads of time. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. 6 is more than 0. And YouTube actually makes it very difficult to get your first 100 subscribers, but once you've got your first 100 subscribers, it sort of snowballs. I mean that's not to say that you don't have to work on the content, obviously, but I look forward to your live streams, Adam. I'm sure it'll pick back up. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's natural. It's natural. Obviously, when you first start something new, there's that initial hype and buzz. Thank you so much for that heart, whoever sent that through. I appreciate it. Thank you for the love. I'd like to start a YouTube channel. Go for it. I think if you're ever going to do social media, YouTube is always the one I kind of push people towards. YouTube is always the one I push people towards. It's the place to be. But of course, with that being said, you have to kind of be comfortable with editing and being in front of a camera. It takes a few videos to get used to being in front of the camera, but eventually it's nothing. It's nothing. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, guys. Oh, I've tucked my arms inside my sleeves, so couldn't cover my mouth. My bad. How rude of me. 6 likes doesn't seem to be working. Would I be able to post the link as a comment under this video? That's a good question. BB, when you was trying to share your blog, could you post a link in the could you post a link in the comments as well, or would it not let you? Crisp Khalid, hello. Good to see you last night, Adam. Hoping to catch you on the mic next time round. Hello. Yes, I've already given you a shout and given the Poetry Lounge a shout out. But yes, it was very good to meet you. It was very surprising how I ended up sitting next to you, but it was cool. It was cool. It was good to meet you. You did a good job with your poetry and your reading. So keep it up, and hopefully I catch you at the next one for sure. We're just talking about different poetry mediums. I've spoken about like poetry albums. We've spoken about podcasts. We've spoken about radios. We've spoken about, of course, social media. Herb came up with a very good idea about graffiti, and we sort of branched off from graffiti to like the Banksy of the poetry world. And Herb was like, you could maybe talk to a council about potentially having your poem up on the wall of like a historic building or something like that, which I think is a really cool idea. So that's kind of what I want to talk about for the next 20 minutes, at least for the rest of part one, is just cool different like avenues that we can think about to kind of progress poetry to the forefront of the arts. In fact, I found in one of the streams we spoke about Conrad. Conrad, let me go to. I don't know if you guys remember, I was talking about stumbling across a poet from the National Poetry Library Instagram, and they were talking about how poets seem to be like the crops of the artist world, and I found it again yesterday, and let me see if I can play it for you. Hopefully this doesn't get a copyright strike. Oh, hang on. I forgot I had headphones in. So let me just take my Bluetooth off. Okay. Hopefully you can hear this.
He's a poet.
Hang on, let's try again.
Poet who believes that it's time.
Oh,
One of these poets who believes that it's time for poets to stop being the ugly cousins of the art world. We are the art world. Enough of this. Um, Generally, when I'm invited to greet at somebody's opening, I say no, thank you. And they say, well, why? And I say, because I'm not there for you. I'm not interested in being a bangle for your art. And they say, well, what do you want? And it's a group show. I say, I want to be in the show. And they put my poem on the wall, human size. And I'm, you know, I'm going to read, because I'm like part of the show, but, it's enough of the centuries of this abuse. Anyway, can I talk my way into the macro? Yeah, no more ugly cousin.
I like that sentiment. Poets are thought of as they said, quoting them, the ugly cousin of the art world. Hopefully, you all heard that, and yeah, that's what I want to talk about for the next 15 minutes or so. How we can kind of think of different concepts that are outside of the box that kind of brings poetry back to the forefront of things. Because don't forget, guys, there was once a time where to be a poet was to be a rock star. Like to be a poet was the thing to be. Obviously, of course, naturally the world moves on and new things like influencers. Influencers are the celebrities and rock stars of today, aren't they? But we're poets, so it's our mission to do whatever we can to get back to the forefront. Came in to find inspiration for finishing my fifth book, so I'm eager to see what I can get done by the end of this. 10 poems to go. Excellent. Is that a poetry collection or um uh, a narrative? Is that part of your narrative trilogy or is that something separate? Interpretive dance poetry. Interesting. So I think I've already said once, um last year I was determined to kind of put my own sort of tour together, an own show, and make it like a spectacle. This is my theatre background coming out. Make it a spectacle. And when I do poetry shows, if I ever get round to doing it, when I do poetry shows, um, I want other forms of art to be there as well. The my ugly cousins, if you like. But no, um, interpretive dances. I want two interpretive dances and a live pianist on stage as well. But yeah, interpretive dance poetry is definitely one of them. A rock star like Chaucer in the movie Knight's Tale. Oh man, I haven't seen that for a long, long time. Heath Ledger, I haven't seen that for a long, long time. Poetry collection returning to an old style I worked with a few years back. Nice. I'm more of an Emily Dickinson poet, lol, rock star in my garden. Nice. Hey, Emily Dickinson is a rock star. Emily Dickinson has a TV show about her. She's also massively a massive poet, so I would say she's a rock star. I'd say she's a rock star for sure. But yeah, Herb, definitely, I would definitely follow up on that idea if it's something that inspires you. I think that's a really, really cool idea. She's amazing. I love her so much. Have you seen the TV show? I think it's just called Dickinson, isn't it? Have you seen the TV show? I know that the actress in it is well known from it, but I can't think of her name off the top of my head. I actually keep trying to get an Emily Dickinson version of those psychedelic paintings, but they're not coming out quite right. I haven't found the sweet spot for it just yet. Her, but what if you had a YouTube channel of doing graffiti poetry? Yeah, yeah, there you go. Must go. See you all Sunday. Take care, Tanya. I hope everything turns out okay for you. I should watch it. I haven't. I tried to watch the first episode. It wasn't. It kind of. It kind of slapped me in the face. Put it that way. What streaming service for Dickinson? I can find out for you. I can find out for you. I'm not sure if it's on any, to be honest with you. But well, it might be now. When I tried to watch it was a long time ago. Dickinson series stream. A- Apple. So it's on Apple TV. Yes, that's right. Now it's all coming back to me. What about picking a poetry spot on Sky Arts, but with a twist? Don't know what the twist could be. Yeah, um, that might be quite difficult because obviously Sky Arts is such a big organization. You'd have to really be able to sell a good idea to be to be picked up by Sky Arts. Oh, pitching a poetry spot on Sky Arts. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, they did have Life and Rhymes with Benjamin Zephaniah. I'm not sure what the future for that is just yet, but there's definitely there's definitely some. It's all about look. It's all about doing exactly what I'm trying to encourage tonight. 7 likes. Thank you so much. Can we hit 10 in the next 10 minutes? You know I like to hit 10 likes before the end of part one. Can you guys get us there? If you know any poets that aren't watching right now, share that link. Let's get to 10 likes. Um, what was I saying? What was I saying? Oh yeah, talk about pitching things to Sky Arts and other, big broadcasters. You have to really come out with a out of the box suggestion that would really excite the producers, which is what we're encouraging now. I think Herb, you've definitely got something there. I really love that idea. I'm gonna be thinking about that now for a while. Hello, I can see a few more people dropping in. Don't forget to say hello in the chat. If you're here, please do feel encouraged to get involved in the chat. We're just talking about out of the box ideas for different poetry mediums. We've spoken about poetry albums and at the moment I'm kind of fixated on a really good idea that Herb had about poetry graffiti and sort of going down the route of Banksy and poetry in that sense. I think Harry the Doggo should have his own poetry channel. Oh goodness. And that would be a lot of entertainment, let me tell you. If I did a YouTube channel of just shorts on Harry, goodness me, Harry Hemingway. I do keep meaning to bring him into one of these streams just to say hello. About 30 years ago, I had an idea for a Shakespeare Light Festival. It was based on groups performing short Shakespeare with twists. Nice. Nice. Herb, it seems like you've definitely got a knack for this, thinking of different projects and outside of the box thinking. Also, guys, don't forget at the end of the month is Burns Night. Do we want to do something special for Burns Night? I did once upon a time try and do a Burns Night live stream on Instagram, and I tried to do the Scottish accent, which failed. And then, because I've got a book of his completed works, and what I tended to do was just pick a poem at random, and trying to get through one of his poems in Scottish dialect was rather difficult. But I'm happy to give it a go again if that's something you guys want to see. 8 likes, thank you so much. We just need 2 more likes, guys. 2 more likes in 9 minutes. If we can do that, I'll be a very happy boy. If we can get to 10 likes by the end of part one, then you would have pulled it out the hat yet again, as you always do, because you guys are the best. I have a Robbie Burns branded whiskey I can bring along. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. What whiskey is that? I haven't come across that before. I have a Robbie Burns bookmark lying around somewhere. I've been looking for like Robert Burns statues to go along with my Shakespeare on the desk, but the only one I can find hasn't got the best reviews, so I'm still on the search. It'll be on live stream. It'll be on live stream. But if you guys want to bring much like Christmas Eve, if you guys want to bring a little beverage with you, will you be in costume? Uh, I don't know if I've got a ruff, but that's more 1600s than what was Robbie Burns? 1700s? Eight? No, it couldn't have been 1800s. I want to say 1700s. I haven't got any 1700s attire. Maybe I'll hire something for you. All right, guys, let's take a break for 5 minutes. Let's go have a loo break, grab some coffee. I really appreciate you being here. And then, what if you dressed Robert Burns meets the 70s? You guys are really, I don't even know what to say to that. You guys are really trying to get me to make a fool of myself on live stream. Uh, that's a concept that I might think about. Might think about. Um, I'll see what I can do. Right, let's break for 5 minutes. Let me top up my coffee mug, have a quick loo break, and when we come back, we'll talk about poetry events inspired by last night. So see you in 5. Wait, why am I hearing? One second, guys. Why am I hearing the Christmas song? The hell? Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. I don't know why the Christmas song started playing. We're definitely past Christmas. It's done. It's been and gone. Anyway, welcome back. Welcome back. Herb, I really hope you start a channel. The rights you added on Christmas Eve were excellent. Yeah, they were very good, Herb. I'd love to read you some of your work sometime. I know you've started sharing some poems on the Cove. Please do continue because I do love reading them. You're a very, very talented poet. So, welcome back to part two. Hello, anyone that's just joining us. Please say hello in the chat. Um, what are we discussing for part two? Let's discuss poetry events. Maybe we can talk about good etiquette at open mics, and just poetry events in general. Has anyone here been to a particularly good poetry event that they really enjoyed? Please do share and why you particularly enjoyed it. I'm in a bit of a predicament because I've got a sore throat, but this is piping hot. So I'm not gonna drink it just yet. I will give it a couple more. Maybe I'll give it 2 minutes just to make sure we're all reconvened. Hello to those just dropping in. I see those viewer counts going up. We are just about to start part two. We are just about to start talking about poetry events. So if you've been to any good poetry events, anything that stands out, do let us know and why they stand out in the chat. Hi everyone. Hello Dazzle in the dark. Hello Dazzle. Um, Yes. So if you've been to a poetry event, tell us about it. What you really enjoyed about it. Or on the flip side, if you've been to any that might have been a bit of a stinker, let us know why. Let's talk about good etiquette during open mic nights. And yeah, for me, I've been lucky enough to go to some really good poetry events. Last night was a very, very good one. And again, if you, I have sort of touched upon it at the start of the stream, but one of the things that really stood out for me last night at this open mic was the environment. The people that were there were actually there because they are lovers of poetry. And there was a handful of us, like myself, I didn't read last night. Slowly but surely, we'll get round to that again. But there was a good handful of people there that were literally just there to listen. They had bought tickets to just listen. So there were appreciators of the arts, where I think too often I've been to open mics where poets are really kind of there to just read their poem. They're only there, they only care about reading their poem and then leaving and getting out of there and not really showing any interest in anyone else that is there to read. So I would say that's a no-no. If you go to open mics, for whatever reason you're going to open mics, make sure that you're there. It's not just a very how to phrase it. It's not just a self-involved thing. You're not just there to kind of read your poem and reap the praise and then leave. Don't do that. That's bad etiquette, I would say, of open mics. Be there because you enjoy the art of poetry and you enjoy listening to poetry, and then you're also reading your poetry too. Because otherwise, it feels very tense for people like me that kind of. I know some people might think this sounds a bit weird, but I'm very good at picking up energies and stuff, and the energy in the room and what have you. And people can feel whether or not you're there just for your own sake, and whether or not you're there because you love poetry and you're there to support the art form. So even if you're just there to read your poem, at least try to show an interest in other people and show your support. Because at the end of the day, if you do that, it really makes a difference. As I say, I'm raving about this event I went to yesterday. It has left a mark in my mind because of the vibe in the room. It was. I mean, yes, the venue helps as well. It was quite a compact venue, and it was a very homely environment. But it at the end of the day, it's down to the people that you're in the room with and the hosts as well. The hosts were very good. So just keep that in mind when you go to open mics. I so agree. Yeah, I think it's really important to kind of that's a big no-no. Don't just be there to read your poem and that's it. Because as well as you think you're hiding it, you're not hiding it. So you might as well be there to have a good time as well. Because then everyone can have a good time. 9 viewers. Hello, welcome to the live stream. We're just talking about poetry events. We've just gotten started, so you haven't missed too much, at least in part two anyway. We're just talking about good etiquette at open mics. And I've started off by saying don't go to open mics just for your own self. I don't know, just for your own praise. Go there to support other poets that are there. Go there because you love the art and stuff, because it makes all the difference. Can anyone think of any other bad no-nos? How much do they charge to go and read? Is it expensive? Every open mic is different. I've been to open mics where um technically it's free. It's free to read, it's free to go, but then they ask for donations. The one I went to last night, I think it was £3.50 for a ticket to go and watch. I don't know how much the ticket is to read. Probably a little bit more, I'd imagine. Probably a fiver, I would imagine. But yeah, are there any other big no-nos that people or big yeses that people can think of for open mics? I think obviously I've mentioned the big one is just be supportive. Don't be there for your own self-gain. Or don't be there just for your own self-gain. Obviously, if you're going there to read, it's because you want to read your poem and kind of get feedback. And don't get me wrong, open mics are super important to. I think I've said this on stream before. Open mics are super important just to figure out how the poem is received and how it sounds out loud as well. But don't be there just for that, is what I'm saying. I think snapping is awkward, though I generally respect the vibe. Snapping. Is this the sort of applause? I never understood that, to be honest. That's not really my thing. I've never been to an open mic where the rule is to snap and don't clap. I don't know if that's a thing. I can imagine myself being awkward enough to be the one guy in the room that starts pounding his palms together and everyone else is like snapping. But yeah, that always feels odd to me. There was no snapping last night. It was all applause. I mean, last night was completely my vibe. It was such a good night. Definitely recommend it. If you missed the beginning, it's called the Poetry Lounge at the Boogaloo Pub in Highgate. Definitely check it out. Yeah, I believe it's once a month. Yeah, I've been lucky enough to go to some really nice, really cool poetry nights in London. A couple of years ago, I found a um it was called Nowhere Nights. Again, it was once a month. It was called Nowhere Nights, where they combined jazz and poetry. Again, like the beats, it very much my vibe. Unfortunately, it's not going anymore. In fact, last night reminded me of Nowhere Nights, and I tried to hunt down Oliver, who was the sort of the founder and the organizer of it. He's a tough man to track down. But I loved those. Those were some great nights, as you can imagine. And the band, it was true jazz. It was all improvised in the moment. like the poet would introduce the poem and kind of the vibe of it, and then it's basically see what happens. So it's such a good night. I miss those. I wished I wish I lived in an area where those sorts of gatherings happened. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I had to travel 2 hours yesterday. I mean, I'm only on the outskirts of London, but unfortunately the train station I have is not best connected, so I have to go the long way around, and it takes me 2 hours. But it's worth it. And I made a promise, as I said, I made a promise to myself to start making an effort of really kind of getting involved in different events and the real world community. But again, that doesn't mean I'm leaving you guys because you guys are my priority. I love you guys. You always look after me. You always hit those targets. And as you are tonight, showing me so much support in the chat. Thank you for being here, guys. And thank you for your lovely messages as well over at the Poetry Cove. You're just all the best, really, aren't you? Farm country in the Midwest. Well, what I would say to you is, if you can, no pressure. If there aren't any poetry events, maybe you have to be the one to start them. Only if it's worth your time, though, and don't put too much pressure on yourself, of course, only if it's worth your time and you have the spare time. But maybe you need to be the trailblazer, BB. You need to be the trailblazer that gets things in motion. Oh, do you guys ever drink really, really hot coffee and feel it going all the way down? Oh, it's because I got a sore throat, so I'm desperately trying to sort of get liquid in there. I'd lubricate. There you go, bit of lubrication. Um, but it's too hot, and I'm taking big gulps, and I can feel it going all the way down. Garage Poets, hello, happy new year, my friend. Welcome back to Conversing with Poets. We are something that may be up your street. We are just talking about different poetry events. Sorry if you can hear the rain coming down. It's really coming down now. We're talking about different poetry events and open mic etiquette and just any poetry events that may have stood that you've been to that may have stood out. There are a few events 30 to 60 minutes away. Excellent, excellent. Have you been to any that have really stood out? And why have they stood out for you, Herb? Happy New Year, absolutely. I have hosted a few. Excellent, BB. Okay, cool. Cool. How do you find it hosting events? As the host of an event, what do you expect from people that come to your events, I guess? And just to catch you up, Garage Poets, in part one we discussed different mediums for our poetry and avenues we can go down to take our poetry. And Herb come up with a very, very good idea that I really hope he kind of maybe potentially chases up if he feels comfortable doing, is sort of graffiti poetry. But then we sort of branched off into talking about Banksy and how a poet might be able to replicate what Banksy has done, but with poetry, and potentially talking to local governments about putting some sort of poem on the side of protected buildings. I don't know. That's kind of where we were going down. It's a very good idea. The best one I've been to is the Boston Poetry Slam's weekly open mic. Okay, nice. And why is that the best one? What stood out for you that made it the best one? Also, in terms of open mic as well, what do you think are good points of etiquette for open mics? I've just finished speaking about how I've been to many open mics where the vibe is just off in the room because most people are there just for their own sort of self-glorification and they only care about getting up onto the mic, reading their poem, and then they're done. Um, but I went to an open mic last night where there was half of the room had just bought audience tickets, myself included. I just went there to listen, and it was a really good vibe because you could tell the whole room was just lovers of poetry rather than people who just kind of want to get up, have their moment in front of the mic and then take off. I always hear new poets that I like there consistently for over 20 years. Fantastic. Okay, brilliant. Yeah, that's well, that'll be one reason to enjoy it. Yeah, wicked. Good one. I love hosting. I used to have a home with a basement and a stage in it. Wow. Now there's a dream right there. I sort of love clumps of people, organized chaos. I like it. That's very poetic. I think the key for an event is advertising in such a way as people come in with the mindset and vibe that you hope to create, and then enforce that with what you present and how. Like directing a play. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if you guys saw my last video. By the way, if you haven't, go and check out my last video, and please do hit like and leave a comment. It's a little bit quiet over there. So show some love. But yeah, I said in that video that I think every theatre should have a poetry night at least once a month. So maybe that'll be my mission this year, is to encourage local theatres to start holding little poetry events. Again, the thing you got to remember is theatres are businesses, so they're only really interested in guaranteed revenue and income, right? So you kind of got to really sell it. And if you're producing it, you got to make sure you bring those bums on seats. Excuse me. But yeah, nowhere nights. Nowhere nights. I'm trying to track down Oliver, who was the guy that organized it, but I'm struggling a little bit. But that was something else. That was something else. Improvised live jazz with two guest poets. Wow. It was really fantastic. If you go to the Poetry Cove magazine, if you go to Poetry Cove, actually, no, it'll be easier to just go to Instagram and search Nowhere Nights. I'll put it in the chat. Again, they're not going anymore, which is such a shame because they were fantastic events. But if you just want to see what the event was, just go to their Instagram, type in Nowhere Nights. It's like a black background with white writing, and they've got like video clips of the evenings that we had. It was so good. I mean, unfortunately I found out about it late. I found out about it in February, not this year, like 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago. I don't know. Time is so fleeting these days. 2.5 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. 2 years ago next month, February, I discovered it, and then unfortunately by August they had stopped. So I only caught a few months worth, 3 or 4 months worth of events, but they were so good. Hello to those new viewers just stopping in. Please don't forget to hit that like button. Let's try and hit those double digits. Let's try and hit those 10 likes. We've got 10 viewers, so let's hit 10 likes. And we're currently just talking about poetry events and any particular events you've been to that are really good, any that have been rather bad, and maybe some that you might think would make a good poetry event. Talking about thinking outside of the box and stuff like that. What do you guys think would make a good poetry event that you would like to see taking place? Let me just see if I missed anything in the chat. Rural hamlet. Ontario, Canada. I actually used to know a musician from Ontario, Canada. Oh wow, okay, I missed a lot in the chat. Sorry, guys. I must have got a bit carried away. I would think it helps with confidence on people. Also, it's getting out there, meeting other poets, and getting your name out there too. Yeah, yeah, of course. And also, guys, if like me, you have, I know you guys wouldn't believe it, but believe me when I tell you, I actually have social anxiety. So um, the more you do it, the more confident and comfortable you get with it. So if you're feeling a little anxious about going to events, you kind of got to just jump in. Maybe do what I'm doing. I went last night solely to just be in that environment again because it's been a long time. Um, you don't necessarily have to go straight in with reading your poetry. You can go get comfortable in that environment, get used to being in that environment, and then when you're ready, get up and read. As I say, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. Jazz and poetry, yeah. As I say, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. It's such a shame that they're not going anymore. I occasionally perform for sheep. Nice. Good afternoon. There are a few events. I have hosted a few. Okay, have I caught up? I love hosting. Yeah, I think guerrilla poetry. Yeah, there you go. I love a bit of guerrilla filmmaking. I always hear, yeah, okay, I think I've caught up. Can I plug my poetry event? Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Does Hyde Park have a bandstand? Sorry if you can hear all that rain on top of me. Does Hyde Park have a bandstand? I wonder if they hire it to do open mics in the summer. Yeah, a bit like of Life and Rhymes. I think they did it in Battersea Park. I could be wrong. Hyde Park is one of the best memories I have of London. That's a beautiful idea. If there isn't one, it's so pretty. The only the only problem with that, and again with no, I was going to say the only problem with that is doing it on a bandstand in a great big park would be audio issues. Would they be able to hear you? But gosh, I don't know if you can hear that, guys, but it's really loud. But you can get like portable speakers and stuff depending on. I mean, look, guys, if you're going to do this, you've got to make it worth your time. Unfortunately, that's just how the world works. I would imagine space to do a bandstand in Hyde Park would be fairly costly. I would imagine. I could be wrong. Then you've got to think about being heard and audio and depending on unless you all sit within the bandstand, I guess. Depends kind of the level in which we're talking. If you're thinking like a large crowd, then you'd need to invest in like a portable speaker and microphone, which again is money. So I would imagine you'd have to probably charge for tickets. But then I don't know how you'd police that because you're in a great big open park, so people can just sit for free. I mean, I'm not trying to put you off. It's a good idea. I'm just trying to help you kind of realize different avenues that you have to think about. You don't want to be too out of pocket. You could find a small cove. Yeah, of course. A night of poetry by water. Now that sounds beautiful. That sounds beautiful. Hmm. In twilight, you wouldn't be able to do it in the winter because, like now, you'd get absolutely drenched. Yeah, you might get, but certainly in the summer, when the weather is better and you got longer evenings and you got twilight and long sunsets and stuff, that would be quite beautiful. 9 likes. Thank you so much, guys. Hopefully we can get to 10. Let's hit those double digits. Nine. Yeah, we hit 9 likes, guys. Thank you so much. Hopefully we can hit 10, get to double digits. I'm just trying to think of sort of really how can you make poetry events as lively as possible? I think most people think of poetry events as sort of stuck in the basement of a bookshop and it's all very quiet and not fun, which obviously as poets we know is not the case. How rock and roll can we get? How rock and roll can we get with our poetry event ideas? There used to be some poets here in the States that toured college campuses. Yeah, that's definitely something that can be done. Yeah, you can do like college campuses, you can do bookshops. I just said let's I just slated, how people might perceive poetry events as being stuck inside a small bookshop basement, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Look, I've been when I spent some time in Princeton, there's a really cool bookshop, and they have an amazing basement which has a which has a stage and performance area, and you're surrounded by all the classics. That would be kind of cool. I mean, doesn't always look, the venue helps certainly, and again, this event yesterday was in a really sort of homely environment, which helps. But at the end of the day, hey, we're back. We lost a subscriber and we've gained one. Wicked. Thank you so much for subscribing. We're back to 595. Um, yeah, the venue definitely helps, but at the end of the day, it's down to the event itself and obviously the hosts as well. The best thing I did was invite a local coffee brand to come and do a coffee tasting. What poetry happened? BB, I sense that you've got a business brain. That's cool. That's cool. Coffee is very much associated with the literary scene, isn't it? We're all big coffee drinkers. At least the majority of us are big coffee drinkers. Hey, 596. All right, wicked. We're on a roll, guys. Now we're cooking. Now we're really cooking. I think mixing a mic night with, say, jazz. Yeah, as I say, that I want to talk to Oliver about the potential of bringing that back. I think I found his LinkedIn today. I think I found his LinkedIn today because it was so good. It was really, really good. I'm showing 10. Oh, okay. Well, then we've already hit 10. For me, it says 9, but we're good. If we've hit 10, we've hit 10. So we've gained 2 subscribers and we've hit 10 likes. This is what I mean, guys. You are the best. I mean, I suppose one could do a wine tasting poetry night. Yeah, I don't drink, so I have nothing to offer to that. Uh, is non-alcoholic wine a thing these days? I mean, I was on the non-alcoholic beer last night. They are super gassy, by the way, guys. I'm sure you didn't need to know that, but non-alcoholic wine, alcohol-free and low alcohol wine. Yeah, so there's options. There are options, non-alcoholic wine for those who don't drink, and regular wine for those who do. again, whiskey is associated with. Actually, I need to be careful because before I know it, we're going to be demonetized for saying all these different beverages, which is what happened on Christmas Eve with Herb, and keep talking about what we were saying Herb was doing. Next thing I know, we got demonetized for that. I fought it and got monetized again, but yeah, you do have to be careful what you say. So I'll wrap that bit up with there are always options. On Robbie Burns Day, the poems get gooder as the night goes on. Yes, an actual there's an idea, guys. Um, Sorry, no, you don't have to apologize. I had no idea that's what was going to happen. I'm the one that brought it up. I'm the one that said you needed to go to these places. So please don't apologize, Herb. We all had a good night and a good laugh. And as I say, much like Tayu and the crispy chicken, Herb, you are now a channel icon, a channel legend. Herb's antics, Herb's Christmas Eve antics. What about one of those flash mobs about a poem? Okay. Yeah, like I'm just trying to think how that would work. Maybe like someone would just start reciting a poem and then someone else would, and then it sort of goes around the room. I always wanted to be part of a flash mob, but I never, because there was a time when flash mobs were huge, right? They were big. Um, they were all over the internet and social media and Facebook and stuff. And I always wanted to be part of one, but I never got around to it. Oh my goodness. Can you guys I don't know if the microphone is blocking out the rain. Can you hear it? It's really coming down. Hey, did we hear from Garage Poets when he about his event? Can I plug my poetry event? No. We didn't hear it. Uh the one thing I'll say, Garage Poets, if you are still here, is that the chat for some reason filters out links. I mean, not for some reason, for the obvious reason that I guess YouTube doesn't want any cyber attacks from random malicious links. So that's not a setting I have because we had this issue when BB wrote her blog post, which, by the way, guys, BB has shared it with me over on the Cove. I don't know how private BB wants to keep that blog, but if you are a poetry cover, do head over to BB's account and send her a chat message. And I'm sure, well, hopefully, I haven't just dropped her in it now. Again, I don't know how private BB wants to keep it, but maybe send her a chat over on the Poetry Cove and get that link. It's a lovely uh, blog post that obviously mentions these live streams and then has the Jack the Ripper poem. I was in a West Coast swing flash mob. Wicked, wicked, wicked. How did you guys organize all of that? Do you have public access TV in the UK, a local TV station anyone can put on a show? I don't, when you say no, I don't think so. We have obviously BBC. I believe that's the only public access TV. And I say that public. I don't know what it's like in the US, but you have to, in order to have a TV in your house, you have to have a TV license. So nothing's free. But obviously, BBC is a huge broadcaster, so you can't, not any, just anyone can put on a show. But that seems like an interesting concept. Do you have that in the US where you have a local TV station and anyone can put on a show? That's like each each state or something has its own TV station. That seems really cool. Oh, Oh, I'm on top chat again, guys. You gotta bear with me. I might have missed a lot of chat because I've been on top chat instead of live chat. I have to remember that that's actually a thing. Sorry, guys. Oh, no, I didn't. Did you put it as a comment, Garage Poets? I haven't got it in my chat box. Yes, you just get a membership. Interesting. Each city. That's a cool idea. No, I don't. I mean, if there's anyone from the UK here that can correct me on this, I don't think we have that. I'll be honest with you guys, I'll probably give it just another 5 minutes or so. Um, I'll probably give it another 5 minutes or so and then wrap the stream up for now. Before I forget, because I probably will when I come to do the outro of this stream, Sunday we have our first write along in, I think it's been about 3 years. I know we wrote a poem on Christmas Eve, but it's slightly different to that in the sense that there will be, I don't know if you guys ever took part in the ride-alongs back in the day, um, or if you've seen the videos, but essentially a ride-along is we have a very organized structure of running order, so you know when you're going to be writing a line rather than kind of pulling out cards and stuff like that and then picking whose line gets to be put in the poem. So there won't be any wasted creativity, shall we say. So we have our first ride along on Sunday. It's earlier. I believe it's 2 o'clock my time, which would be Greenwich Mean Time. And then we're still going to be doing the Conversing with Poets in the evening, which will be 7 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time. So 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock. So yeah, you'll be treated to 2 live streams that day. The info for my open mic is on my channel. It's tomorrow night. Okay, cool. So for those of you watching it in a playback, the channel is called the Garage Poets Open Mic. And I guess check out the about information in the channel. So yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up in a couple of minutes, just to see what the last few messages are, and then I'll see you guys on Sunday. Also, don't forget, please do head over to the video I posted on Tuesday. Leave a like and a comment and just some love because it's a little bit quiet over there. So I would really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this live stream. I guess everyone's trying to kind of get back into the routine of life after Christmas and stuff. Also, I know Tanya popped in and then had to take off to the hospital. She had an incident, she said. So there was that. And then during the break, I had a message from Nikki saying she is also in the hospital because with a relative. So sending both of you lots of love and healing energy, and I hope everything turns out okay. Please rest up. That's so much work for you. Thank you for all you give, Adam. Oh, thank you, BB. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate your kind messages on the Cove. Uh, I'm just returning the favor. You know, you guys really picked me up back in November from a rut. Guys really inspired me to get back to doing this. I just hope that you're still enjoying the live streams. I don't know. I just hope that you guys are still getting something out of these. And enjoy the videos because I'm enjoying being back. So as long as you guys enjoy it, as long as you guys keep wanting to see it, and you know, the only reason I ask so much for these likes and comments is just so that I know that I'm not wasting my time, and as long as you guys are enjoying it, I will do everything I can to keep up with it. Right along is only once a month, so yeah, Sundays will be a good day. They say Sunday is the day of rest, but yeah, not for me. thank you for the show, Adam. Have fun and play safe. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for being here, Herb. And definitely, you definitely got my brain turning. So I would suggest, if you feel comfortable, really following through with that idea. I think you come up with a great idea there, Herb. Okay, guys, thank you so much for spending the last hour and 40 minutes with me. I really appreciate you. Thank you for all the ideas. Thank you for all the input. Again, I hope you enjoyed the live stream, and I hope to see you either in the Write Along on Sunday or the Conversing with Poets, or both if you can make both. So